The Hebrew Bible, 5 books of Moses. Genesis, chapter 33. And Jacob raised his eyes and saw, and look, Esau was coming, and with him were 400 men. And he divided the children between Leah and Rachel, and between the 2 slave girls. And he placed the slave girls and their children first, and Leah and her children after them, and Rachel and Joseph last. And he passed before them and bowed to the ground 7 times until he drew near his brother. And Esau ran to meet him and embraced him and fell upon his neck and kissed him, and they wept. And he raised his eyes and saw the women and the children, and he said, "Who are these with you?" And he said, "The children with whom God has favored your servant." And the slave girls drew near, they and their children, and they bowed down. And Leah too and her children drew near, and they bowed down. And then Joseph and Rachel drew near and bowed down. And he said, "What do you mean by all this camp I have met?" And he said, "To find favor in the eyes of my Lord." And Esau said, "I have much, my brother. Keep what you have." And Jacob said, "Oh, no, pray. I have found favor in your eyes. Take this tribute from my hand. For have I not seen your face, as one might see God's face, and you receive me in kindness? Pray, take my blessing, and that has been brought for you. For God has favored me, and I have everything." And he pressed him, and he took it, and he said, "Let us journey onward and go, and let me go alongside you." And he said, "My Lord knows that the children are tender, and the nursing sheep and cattle are my burden. And if they are wiped onward a single day, all the flocks will die. Pray let me, Lord, pass on before his servant, and let me drive along at my own easy pace, at the heels of livestock before me, and at the heels of the children, till I come to my Lord and his sire." And Esau said, "Pray, let me set aside for you some of the people who are with me." And he said, "Why should I find such favor in the eyes of my Lord?" And Esau returned that day on his way to Seir, while Jacob journeyed on to Succoth. And he built himself a house, and for his cattle he made sheds. Therefore is the name of the place called Succoth. And Jacob came in peace to the town of Shechem, which is in the land of Canaan, when he came from Padan Aram. And he camped before the town, and he bought the parcel of land where he had pitched his tent from the sons of Hamor, father of Shechem, for 100 kesitas. And he set up an altar there and called it El Elohei Israel. Chapter 34. And Dinah, Leah's daughter, whom she had borne to Jacob, went out to go sing among the daughters of the land. And Shechem, the son of Hamor, the Hivite, prince of the land, saw her and took her and lay with her and abused her. And his very self clung to Dinah, daughter of Jacob, and he loved the young woman, and he spoke to the young woman's heart. And Shechem said to Hamor his father, saying, "Take me this girl as wife." And Jacob had heard that he had defiled Dinah his daughter, and his sons were with his livestock in the field. And Jacob held his peace till they came. And Hamor, Shechem's father, came out to Jacob to speak with him. And Jacob's son had come in front of the field when they heard, and the men were pained, and they were very incensed, for he had done a scurrilous thing in Israel by lying with Jacob's daughter, such as ought not be done. And Hamor spoke with him, saying, "Shechem, my son, his very self longs for your daughter. Pray give her to him as wife, and ally with us by marriage. Your daughters you will give to us, and our daughters take for you yourselves. And among us you will settle, and the land is before you. Settle and go out it, and take holdings in it." And Shechem said to her father and to her brothers, "Let me find favor in your eyes, and whatever you say to me I will give. Name me, however, much bride price and clan gift. I will give what you say to me, and give me the young woman as wife." And the sons of Jacob answered Shechem and Hamor his father deceitfully. They spoke as they did because he had defiled Dinah, their sister. And they said to them, We cannot do this thing to give our sister to a man who has a foreskin, as that is a disgrace for us. Only in this way we agree to you. If you will be like us, every male to be circumcised, then we can give our daughters to you, and your daughters we can take for ourselves, and we can settle among you and become one folk. But if you will not listen to us to be circumcised, we will take our daughters and go. And their words seemed good in the eyes of Hamor and in the eyes of Shechem, son of Hamor. And the lad had lost no time in doing the thing, for he wanted Jacob's daughter, and he was most highly regarded of all his father's house. And Hamor, Shechem, his son, came to the gate of their town, and they spoke to their townsmen, saying, These men come in peace to us. Let them settle in the land and go about it, for the land, look, is ample before them. Their daughters we shall take us as wives, and our daughters we shall give to them. Only in this way will the man agree to us, to settle with us, to be one folk. If every male of us be circumcised, and they are circumcised, their possessions in livestock, and all their cattle, will they not be ours if only we agree to them, and they settle among us? And all who sally forth from the gate of his town listened to Hamor and to Shechem his son, and every male was circumcised, and all who sallied forth from the gate of his town. And it happened on the third day, while they were herding, that Jacob's two sons, Simeon and Levi, Dinah's brothers, took each sword, and came up to the city unopposed, and they killed every male. And Hamor and Shechem his son they killed by the edge of the sword. And they took Dinah from the house of Shechem and went out. Jacob's son came upon the slain and looted the town, for they had defiled their sister. Their sheep and their cattle and their donkeys, what was in the town and in the field, they took, and all their wealth, and all their young ones and their wives they took captive, and they looted everything in their houses. And Jacob said to Simeon and Levi, You have stirred up trouble for me, making me stink among the land's inhabitants, among Canaanite and Perizzite, when I am a handful of men. If they gather against me and strike, I shall be destroyed, and my household. And they said, Like a whore should our sister be treated. Chapter 35. And God said to Jacob, Rise, go up to Bethel, and dwell there, and make an altar there to the God who appeared to you when you fled from Esau your brother. And Jacob said to his household and to all who were with him, Put away the alien gods that are in your midst, and cleanse yourselves and change your garments, and let us rise, go up to Bethel, and I shall make an altar there to the God who answered me on the day of my distress, and was with me on the way that I went. And they gave Jacob all the alien gods that were in their hands, and the rings that were in their ears, and Jacob buried them under the terebinth that is by Shechem. And they journeyed onward, and the terror of God was upon the towns around them. And they did not pursue the sons of Jacob. And Jacob came to Luz in the land of Canaan, that is Bethel, he and all the people who were with him. And he built there an altar, and he called the place El Bethel, for their God was revealed to him when he fled from his brother. And Deborah, Rebekah's nurse, died, and she was buried below Bethel under the oak, and its name was called Alon Bakuth. And God appeared to Jacob again. He came from Padan Aram, and he blessed him. And God said to him, Your name, Jacob, no longer shall be your name called Jacob, but Israel shall be your name. And he called his name Israel. And God said to him, I am El Shaddai, be fruitful and multiply. A nation, an assembly of nations shall stem from you, and kings shall come forth from your loins. And the land that I gave to Abraham and to Isaac, to you I will give it, and to your seed after you I will give the land. And God ascended from him in the place where he had spoken to him, and Jacob set up a pillar in the place where he had spoken with him, a pillar of stone, and he offered libation upon it and poured oil on it. And Jacob called the name of the place where God had spoken with him Bethel. And they journeyed onward from Bethel, and then, when they were still some distance from Ephrath, Rachel gave birth. And she labored hard in the birth. And it happened, when she was laboring hardest in the birth, that the midwife said to her, Fear not, for this one too is a son for you. And it happened, as her life ran out, for she was dying, that she called his name Benoni. But his father called him Benjamin. And Rachel died, and she was buried on the road to Ephrath, that is Bethlehem. And Jacob set up a pillar on the grave. It is the pillar of Rachel, engraved to this day. And Israel journeyed onward, and pitched his tent on the far side of Migdal Eder. And it happened, when Israel was encamped in that land, that Reuben went and lay with Bilhah, his father's concubine, and Israel heard. And the sons of Jacob were 12. The sons of Leah, Jacob's firstborn, Reuben, and Simeon, and Levi, and Judah, and Issachar, and Zebulun. The sons of Rachel, Joseph, and Benjamin. And the sons of Bilhah, Rachel's slave girl, Dan, and Naphtali. And the sons of Zilpah, Leah's slave girl, Gad, and Asher. These are the sons of Jacob, who were born to him in Padan Aram. And Jacob came to Isaac, his father, in Mamre, at Kiriath Arba, that is Hebron, where Abraham and Isaac had sojourned. And Isaac's days were 180 years. And Isaac breathed his last, and died, and was gathered to his kin, old and sated with years. And Esau and Jacob, his sons, buried him.